I feel like that's a lost thing now where kids grow up and they get the screens and everybody wants to be an influencer or a YouTuber, which sounds great, But there's nothing that replaces that pure opportunity as a child when my dad told me hey, if you sweep up this or if you mow this lawn, you can make this amount of money. And it was mine. It wasn't just given to me. I earned it. And I think that that's something that we miss in this generation is having something that is yours.
When you let your child do something hard, there's this self-confidence that comes into play that's like a really healthy piece. That is a life skill that you take on when you do something that you aren't good at and you get better at it. And when you let your child fail, you are building resilience in them.
This is Unexpected with Hannah Love. In this podcast, you will gain a new perspective of how God loves you enough to call you to things that you couldn't have imagined for yourself.
Morning, babe.
Good morning. How are you?
It's, sometimes it's nice to pencil you in just so I get a second with you in the morning.
This is our morning rundown.
Our morning rundown.
Yes.
Be a nice little series.
It would be, especially now we got our coffee. Things are heating up.
Things are really heating up.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone's noticed, but for those of you watching, there's something new in the picture here today.
Oh, you just dropped a hint. There's something new in the frame.
I did.
Literally. Look at this. So let's talk about this. Let's dive right in.
Let's dive right in.
I think a lot of husbands out there would relate to this because you are an avid Facebook Marketplace user.
Avid.
Which I think there's a Nate Bargatze joke in there about his wife sending him. He's like, she's selling stuff on Marketplace, and he's like, worst case, our family gets murdered. We got hello.
Oh, good morning. Did you get a water bottle?
He needs a water.
You need a water? Can I open
This is the kind of interruption I don't mind. And we're back. After a short break from the little toots.
Okay.
So as we were talking about, you're an avid Facebook Marketplace placer, which is an old Nate Bargatze joke talking about his wife selling things on Marketplace for $5. Don't know if it's worth it, but thankfully you do not sell items, but you do send me.
Have I traveled far and near to pick things up from strangers? Yes.
Yes, and it's always an adventure.
Always.
And it's usually me going to get it.
Not always, but
not always.
We've gone on dates before. Do you remember when we went on a little date and you were not pumped about it? But I was like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be an adventure. And what happened? She also sold us a bed for $20.
She did.
And that was exciting for me.
Yeah. That bed is still in our garage.
It is.
It will probably never be used.
No, it's going to go to our
scenario.
New house. Here's the thing. I am collecting for our new house.
Yep.
And
you're doing a good job.
I'm curating. And I think to curate, you have to hand select things that you love, that are interesting or unique. They speak to you. And this spoke to me.
This has been speaking to you for a while now.
It has, actually. This was a more expensive purchase, and I usually don't pull the trigger on these, A, unless I get your permission and your blessing, and B, unless I've loved it for quite a while and it hasn't been snatched up.
Yes.
Because most things are snatched up.
Yeah, they are. And this painting is, I don't know if you can tell by scale, but it's absolutely
huge.
Ginormous. That's a big screen TV right there.
It literally looks like one of those TV, framed.
It might be. We haven't checked.
It is beautiful, though.
It is very pretty. As you see here, we've got
My heart still skips a beat when I see it. So.
a young fisher. I would say fisherman, but it's a fisher boy.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a young man.
Our boys love to fish. It was just so precious to me.
It is.
And I love oil.
But I had an adventure going to get it. It was a rainy day in Nashville yesterday, and I had to go pick it up. And I met him. This man was wonderful. So shout out to, I believe his name was Zaldi. Zaldi was an absolute sweetheart. You don't always get absolute sweethearts.
You don't.
But Zaldi was a good one. And it was a great adventure.
It's always fun when they don't know who you are.
Yeah. But usually, I would say most of the time they end up finding out. Uh-huh. I'm actually on a text chain. Zaldi and I are now tight.
You're now friends.
Yeah, we're friends now. Yeah. His kids. He took a picture with me.
Didn't he tell you? You told him that he asked you what you did. You told him you were a singer, and he said, "Oh, maybe I'll take a picture with you because what if you're famous one day?"
Yeah, and then he sends me a text later and says apologize because his family knew who I was, and so it was a very funny exchange. It's a great way to meet new people.
It is.
I also wouldn't advise it because I feel like that's a good story, and I don't know that it always goes that way.
It may not always end that way, but I will say, if you're in the Nashville area, don't be surprised if you get
if I show up at your front
Shay
door
shows up
picking
at your
up a
front
$3
door.
basket. It could happen.
Much to lure us.
It doesn't take much. It's Hannah's on the hunt. She'll find.
Skip his booking agent and just dangle a treasure on Marketplace, and we'll
Want us
come
to sing your
running.
wedding? Sell some sconces. We'll probably show up. Oh, but it is an adventure. I'm a big fan, and it is a great place to find some paintings and things. And this is something that will end up in our forever home that we're gonna love. And it not only, how boring is it to go buy something at the store when you have a story now attached to a Facebook Marketplace
and Saldi,
find
and a friend, story and a friend,
and a friend.
Wow,
You can't find that.
economic too.
It is. But anyway, that's
all
the
we have
setup.
this
That's kind of
morning.
all we have this morning. So how are you? How are you doing?
I'm better. I've had a few interviews back to back, and so when I say I just talked about this, I literally yesterday was talking about this, but I've just been sharing about the season that we've been in.
Yep.
And words are powerful, so I'm not going to say anything negative about it, but it's a lot to take on, and so I've just been sharing. Joe and I sat down yesterday and talked about kind of how we function and operate in seasons like this. And I know we've done an episode before with balancing life and work and marriage and all that, but the balance never ends.
Yeah.
And it's just the walk changes. And so I think that's where we've been. I had a friend that lovingly, kicked my booty a little bit and was like, you got to get a little help. I'm not good at asking for help, but I did. I'm also not good at delegating, but I have, and that has, I think, alleviated some stress.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot going on. Our garage is full of treasures for Arkansas. That move is still a year out, but like I said, I'm collecting, so we've got a rotation of stuff in the house.
Yeah.
And also, I'm about to start decorating for Christmas.
And that's an adventure.
Exciting times.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
it is
We're not celebrating Halloween over here. We will be decorating for Christmas.
We are decorating for Christmas. And I think that, this season that we're in, there is a lot of challenges that come with it. But I will say, speaking along to the seasons thing, fall is probably, I don't want to say it's my favorite season because Christmas is definitely my favorite time of the year.
Favorite holiday, favorite season is summer.
Yes, for sure. Well, I really enjoy
the whole year, okay?
I love the whole year, but there's good things about all of it. But I think that the fall to me is one of my favorite times, just because.
Our
for one
coffee's
thing,
hot.
coffee's hot. I like sweater weather. Yeah. I like jacket weather. When it gets bitter cold out, that's pretty miserable. But when it gets up to the 60s, during the day, but the mornings are crisp.
Yep.
It's
really
it's
hard
a nice,
to dress the kids.
Yeah. But it's a nice time. I've really been enjoying not only the season that we're in, and even though it comes with challenges, I feel like we've kind of nestled a little bit, and we're enjoying this time with the boys while they're little. And I don't know, it's just really a fun season. We got Christmas right around the corner.
We do. It'll
What
be
could be
Aubrey's
better?
first Christmas.
It will be.
And it'll be a really fun one with the boys because Abram's 3, Amesie's 5, Asher's 8. So there's still Christmas magic in the air.
There is. It's very fun.
And one day, I actually love the thought of the people that do Christmas trips or an experience rather than the gifts.
Yeah.
They've got so much junk. And I know it's fun for grandparents and for friends and people to get gifts for them. And it is fun for them. Mom's thing is she's like, I'll just go to the dollar store and get them knickknacks. Because it doesn't matter if it's $1 or if it's $100. Their attention span's pretty short. So you might as well just get them the box or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The water bottle, literally.
Yeah.
But one day when everyone's a little bit older and travel is a little easier, I think that is the route that we should take with
I
the
agree.
experiences. But again, right now, everyone's like, what's the biggest change? What do you think is going to change when you move? When we have a moment, when we have time off, when you have time off, we run to Arkansas. We either go see my family or your family, because I would rather our kids growing up years be full of knowing their family
Yeah.
as opposed to the trips.
Agreed. I remember those, not to interrupt you, but I do remember, just to your point, I remember all the trips that we took when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We went to Germany when I was 9. It was somewhere between 9 and 12. I can't really remember.
Yeah, but
I
you were
wanna
the
say
youngest.
I was the youngest. I think that it was somewhere in between, 9, 10. And we went to Germany and we went to see all the castles, and we did that whole deal when my cousin Paul was a Navy SEAL and he was stationed over in Stuttgart. And so we got to go see that, and then we were there for like 2 weeks, and we traveled around Europe. And I remember that, and that's still, my most memorable, favorite trip that I ever took as a
I
kid.
remember going to San Francisco with Mom and some of my aunts. I'm pretty sure I was missing a tooth, so I had to have been into like 6 or 7 range.
Yeah.
But I remember it.
Yeah.
And those are really like sweet memories. And like I said, the biggest change I think will be when we move, because we will finally be with family. We will then be able to travel and take vacations.
Yeah.
I think people are shocked when they're like, do y'all not vacation? And we're like, yeah, we go home to the farm.
Yeah,
But
that is the
it's
vacation
just
right now.
Our priority, I think I can speak for both of us when I say our priority has been, I would rather the kids know their grandparents, know their cousins, spend a summer at home than go to Italy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because what's the point?
what's the point?
If you're missing out on that, I mean, that is the most important thing, is time with family and for them to know them and actually know them.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a big difference in, knowing who your family is and really knowing them. And that's the greatest gift that I think we could give them, is exactly what we're doing, and moving back home and kind of giving them that, not only the childhood that you and I had, but also that relationship, with their grandparents, like we had growing up.
Right.
I mean, I know that you had the same, upbringing with your
across the field
being
from your
across the
mom.
field. That was the same with us, and that's literally what we're gonna have, and that's a really exciting notion. And it's already been just so life-giving, because we haven't, we're not there yet, but when we do visit, knowing that is coming, and kind of seeing those little moments of them running down to the barn in the morning and, getting eggs and, milking the cows, and that whole experience is just like, I don't know, there's just something so comforting about it.
Yeah.
And it's a really exciting thought. But yeah, it's going to be definitely a change of pace. What do you think? I mean, I know a lot of the answers to this, but what do you think farm life, after obviously growing up, both you and I growing up on farms, what do you think the biggest change will be? At least, what do you think the biggest challenge will be being on the farm?
I think right now, and probably forever, just because I'm a mom and a woman, I don't know. I actually spoke at a conference, and I kind of spoke on this, but it's that control piece. I think because over the last almost 10 years, it's been us, and our unit has been us and Stu. I think that because we've been such a unit of, like, it's either me or you or Stu. Like, really, that's kind of been our life for the last years. And so I think for me, moving home and then trusting other people, and that sounds bad, that trusting other people, but I just mean, like, we have a routine. Stu knows our routines. Like, the three of us are kind of a well-oiled machine at this point.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a shake-up to bring in help. Like, to have help will be a huge blessing, but also trying to reestablish what our routines are, and giving up a little bit of my control to be like, oh yeah, the kids are driving to town with whoever, like a cousin. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, I've never had to worry about that.
Yeah.
not that should worry about it, but it's just as a mom, when your kids are outside of your own reach, like you are going to think about that. Also, I worry about ponds. But we have littles. So I do, there are practical things now as a mom, like as a child growing up, best childhood ever. I literally remember like walking out into the ponds and gathering the pond scum and like smushing it together to make like algae balls.
Yeah, and you still do that.
And yeah. Honestly,
watched it the other day, you wouldn't gather the algae.
Thinking back, there were probably like benefits to the algae. You
probably
know what I
so.
mean? Like,
there's someone out there, an influencer that's like, try my new algae face peel.
I had really good skin.
Yeah.
That's
probably why you have such good skin.
It probably is. But no, I grew up barefoot on a dirt road. Me and my cousin would like look for little kittens in the summertime. Like my whole childhood is just memories of like catching frogs and like climbing up trees and total tomboy. And so
just being in nature.
And I remember following like the creek bed for like miles. And I'm like, holy cow, I was probably Asher's age.
Yeah.
And the only rule was just come in when the sun goes down.
I know.
Like hundreds of acres. That's wild to me. And you were the same.
Yeah. It is. I think about the things that I did when I was a kid, and I think about how now I would probably, my goal is to get to that place where I do.
Right. I think our world does look a little different now. I think.
For sure. But it also, letting it, like that's part of the wonder of being back there, is that even though the world is crazy, like it is a different world that we live in. But at the same time, it's the same place that we did grow up in. Like there hasn't been one single change to Natural Dam, which is like
other than the bear attacks.
Other than
Arkansas
the bear attacks
lately.
that have been happening, but that's not a natural dam. But I think that
it's a county over.
I know it is wild.
I'm scared of bears. It's like,
but that's always been kind of your big fear.
It is. I actually am really scared of bears.
Very scared of bears, which I thought you were kidding about that when we first started dating.
My dad read grizzly stories to us when we were kids.
And then you went to UCA.
Kirby.
You went to UCA where their mascot is a bear, which is always kind of killed me.
I know.
But I think that, being back home, that is obviously, I think, a fear of every parent. You worry about your kids and you think about every scenario. Mm-hmm. And I think you and I are both kind of on this mission to really not necessarily, give up control, but kind of give our kids to God and be like, hey, we're a little fearful of this, but also knowing that like, we're not supposed to be fearful.
Yeah.
And we're not supposed to, worry. It's never added a day to our life ever. But I think that in order to combat that, I feel like being prepared and having our kids be prepared, I would rather, teach them about, the dangers of something rather than make it look like this. Even when you're saying like, hey, this is really dangerous, don't go do this. Sometimes we can, as parents, do it in a way where it kind of makes it this shiny object, where they're kind of like, well, I think I'd kind of like to try that. That's just how boys operate, where it's like, hey, you cannot do this. I'm not going to tell you why, but you can't do it, And I think, that was very much the approach that my parents took growing up of just, hey, look, if you touch that stove, like you can touch it, but it's going to burn you. And sometimes for boys, the amount of times I grabbed electric fences, but I think that sometimes for boys, unfortunately, they need to experience some of that hurt. They need to fall out of a tree. And that's saying that out loud. It's just like, well, that sounds terrible. You want your kids to get hurt. But it's like, that is for boys, especially feeling that adrenaline rush and experiencing that. Like it's very important for their growth and to do, we've read this. I think that, Sissy Goff.
I had Sissy in here and we talked about healthy risk.
Yeah. Doing dangerous things carefully is such a part of a boy's childhood and what I experienced growing up. And I think that will probably be one of our biggest challenges for both of us. Even though I experienced it, I will probably, once we get there, it'll be a lot easier for me, I know, than it will be for you. Mm-hmm. But I think that'll be one of the hardest things to kind of give up that control of like, okay, we're going to trust that when they're out there, they're going to be okay.
Yeah. And
making sure that we equip them, with the knowledge of like, hey, don't walk behind a horse because they'll kick you, and cows the same way, But I don't know. I'm really, really excited about them being on the farm and having, responsibilities and things to do and chores. And I don't know, that was my whole upbringing. You do all these things and you look back on it very fondly, because now as a dad and as an adult, I can look back and see where my character was shaped.
Yeah.
And like why I held on to the things that I did. It was because my parents, and watching them do those things.
It's the work ethic, I think, because everyone around you, especially I think in rural America, you have to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not, we can't Uber Eats our coffee to our door there.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty poor example of working hard. But
yeah.
what I'm saying
we're going to work
is,
real hard. We're going to go drive to get our coffee.
What I'm saying is, things are not necessarily at your fingertips, and you have to drive 20 or 30 minutes to get to the nearest store, which is Walmart. Walmart has everything, and that's the only store you have, or dollar store. But yeah, I remember, raking hay in the summertime. I remember working out in the fields. Dad bush hogged our neighbor's fields, and he told me that he would pay me if I would pick up all of the. Sometimes you can get paid to pick up rocks. Sometimes you can get paid to pick up. These were like cedar trees, and I just remember, and I was like a teenager, but I remember my back feeling broken after like 2 days of this. And it was hard work, and I made barely anything, but that's work ethic. I remember unloading like a rick of wood, which a rick of wood is like the pickup bed full of wood, because we had a wood burning stove growing up. Mm-hmm. And so I would like unload, dad would go and bring it in, and then I would unload it and like take it to the basement, me or my brother. And so it's just, and I actually to this day, like I prefer working with my hands. I prefer doing the physical work as opposed to like when we were dating, when we first met, I worked in an office.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Yeah.
Hated an office job. It's sedentary. It's just not satisfying in the way of like doing something with your hands and like seeing progress.
Yeah. I mean, the best example, obviously I grew up doing construction and everything on the farm, milking cows and like doing things. But I think the reason that is like there's so like, especially with grass to me is like, now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, what a privilege it is to mow grass. I know that sounds crazy, but like I grew up doing that for hours, and we had so much land out there that it was a lot of stuff to mow. It would be, a 7-hour job, if you did it all day. But we would mow grass, and it's like, as soon as you finish, it's not just like, okay, cool, I punched the clock and we did this. You could turn around and look at the product, look at what you did.
And it just feels.
It feels so good. And just, I think, Dad kind of putting it that way when I was growing up, of like, he had me do these things and gave me the opportunity to earn money. Yeah. And then it changes the whole way that you look at money and things. I feel like we have that's a lost thing now, where kids grow up and they've got the screens and everybody wants to be an influencer or a YouTuber or an entertainer, or like whatever it is, and they want to do it from their phone. They just want to be famous. They don't want to do
post this and make money from ads.
Which sounds great, but there's nothing that replaces that pure like opportunity as a child. When my dad told me like, hey, if you sweep up this job site, or if you mow this lawn, you can make this amount of money. And I feel like doing that, and then receiving the money, and it was mine. It wasn't just given to me. I earned it. And the difference in the way that you treat your money when you earn it versus when you're just given it. It's just, there was actually there's a farmer that I watched in an interview a long time ago, and he was talking about how he gave his sons, cattle. He would give him chores. He was like, hey, I want you to go out and I want you to feed the cows, and he'd be like, oh, I don't really want to go do this. I want to go, feed the cows. And cause that was Dad's cows, but then he helped him buy his first cow, and it was his. And it was like, when you sell this, you'll get the money, you'll have this. And his little boy said got up at like 6 a.m. and was going out there
bottle feed the cat.
feeding it and taking care of it because it was his. And I think that that's something that we miss in this generation
ownership.
is having something that is yours. And I know that like, there's so many challenges now where it's like, yeah, you can say that, but like I can't buy my own home right now, because it's $1 billion, to have to be able to buy a house now. But having things that are yours and just the mentality behind that and what that does psychologically to you as a kid.
Can I tell you what it like cultivates in a child? And I say this like a professional, but I've just seen so many reels, and of course we've like read the books. But when you let your child do something hard, and when you let your child fail, you are building resilience in them.
Yeah.
And not just resilience, but you're building capacity in them to be able to fail and do it again. And so there's this self-confidence that comes into play that's like a really healthy piece, because even, with our oldest, like if we don't do it perfectly, or if we don't think we're going to be good at it, we don't even want to attempt it.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. I think that's a fair like feeling that a lot of us, even as adults, have.
Yeah, you don't want to do something that you're bad at.
That we stink at.
Yeah.
But that is a life skill that you take on when you do something that you aren't good at and you get better at it.
Yeah.
And that builds competence.
Yeah.
And I think that we're missing a lot of that in even a lot of adults today.
100%. I mean, I think it's something that everybody, struggles with. I think, as adults now, especially if you don't have to do it, it's like, man, I'm terrible at this. Like, I don't want to, do something that I'm bad at. That was golf for me.
Yeah.
Where it was like, I think golf is such a good, that's why, we've been taking the boys and like golfing a lot, and, the boys, they'll get frustrated when they don't hit it. It's universal, the struggles of golf.
Yes.
But I think it teaches you a lot about life, because it's not something, golf, even when you're a professional, is something that you can't master.
Right.
It is the art of doing it.
Sport. You are competing against yourself to better yourself.
Yes. You're going against yourself to make yourself better, not perfect, because you can literally never be perfect. And I think it's such a beautiful picture of kind of our lives of, listen, we can do the best that we can. And yes, we are going to get better, and we're going to refine ourselves, and we're going to make less mistakes than we did. But the whole point is to just make less mistakes than we did. We're never going to be perfect, which is what a beautiful picture of like what God does for us. Like no matter how hard we try, we still had to have a savior. And that's how I rounded golf out to pretty good stuff. But I think, tying this back into, to kind of wrap this whole thing up, I think that especially, in golf, in life, and all of these things that, you do, and we try to, teach our kids, I think it's really important, the language that we use, and I think that
you can do hard things.
You can do hard things. And also
implemented that sentence a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think that the way that you talk to your kids is very important. And we've talked about that a million times, but I think that, using language like, hey, you work so hard, or you do these things, rather than like, you're so smart, because I think that, and it clicked with me whenever I read that, because it's when you tell somebody that they're so smart and like, dude, you're so good at this, like you're whatever it is, like those things sound good, and they are to a point. But what happens with a kid is when they think like, yeah, I'm so good at this. The first time that they fail, then they're like, well, this must mean that I'm not good at it. But when you tell someone like, hey, you work so hard, you're so resilient, you're so this, like no matter what happens, like you always just keep going. Then it's like when they go to look for that encouragement, they're like, well, I keep going. I work hard at this. And hard work produces results, and I think that it's such I don't know, it's a beautiful picture to think about that, because that really is how life works. Nobody is perfect at something, but if you work hard, you will get better at something, no matter what. Like you will be better than you were the last time. And I think that it's like that in a lot of things in life. Like, yeah, you might not be, if you might not be Tiger Woods, but like you're gonna maybe not hit more balls, into the water if you keep going on this path. Like, I think it's hard work and just the things that we learned as kids, but it looks a lot different nowadays to be able to teach those lessons because we live in a different world and we are in the digital age. But that's what I'm excited about, being on the farm, because even though the world has changed, even though the world has changed a lot, it still is very much the same place that we grew up in. And I think that's what I'm most excited about, is just having the open land and the woods and all those things that can be scary to us as a parent. But I think looking at it as such an opportunity, as a playground for the soul, to be able to go and to discover and to experience wonder and just to be free. I mean, that to me was just feeling like I could just go out there and explore. Was as a young man was like, we're going to go climb this tree. We're going to make a fort. Like, your imagination explodes when you're in the middle of nowhere and you're running around on land. Like, we did so much as kids, and I think back to it, and that is really I would say kind of and we're both creative. Basis.
That's probably like a big
probably
piece
what it was. And I remember going back there with, my friend Austin and Michael and Logan and all of us, and Tori would go back there, and we would the world was our oyster, because you could make up whatever you wanted. And it's very different than the world that we live in today. We knew that it was make believe, Yeah. And I think now it's like, you can be, whatever you want. It's like, but it was a different world of like, this is not, we still, we got to kind of explore our imaginations without exiting reality of what the world was and what that meant.
Well, that's childhood.
It is childhood.
I think what you're talking about is adults who are living in fantasy land.
100%. But I think that but as adults, it's a fine line though, because you want, as adults, like, I still get to exercise my imagination, especially now through our kids. But and I've talked about that a lot, about wanting to bring wonder back to adults of like, we've lost that as kids. And now if we're not careful, like, our kids will never experience it to begin with.
Right.
And not even learn how to do that. And so I think it's, all to be said, I'm most excited about, the imagination and really stretching themselves, in Arkansas, and being able to kind of run around. And because I do want them to bring that into adulthood, because we have. And now we're even learning how to better do that as adults, and be like, you don't really ever have to grow up. You need to become an adult, and you need to, do all these things, and you need to, become responsible and refine yourself in all these ways, but never lose this wonder. And for them to be able to see that we haven't either, like us being out in the woods and us going camping and fishing and taking them and doing all these adventures, I think that will show them like, hey, I don't ever have to lose this. But it's just I don't know, it's a journey.
It is.
And I don't know, it's exciting though, at the thought of going there and really just having the adventure land. Yeah, we're excited.
We are excited.
Cheers, we got our wood quote out for the day.
We did. We got our... I just sat here taking it all in. But yeah.
Back to the painting. Tell us what this...
I think that this looks like home to me. And our boys love to fish. And it just made my heart leap. And thank you for being sweet enough to pick it up for me without a single grumble. Meeting a stranger. And you're a good man.
It's always an adventure.
It's been a good morning.
It's been a good morning.
Good morning. Any morning.
Finish our
a good
coffee
morning with you.
That's right. There you go.
Except
There's
yesterday morning, but
what was yesterday morning?
It's okay. We started out rough yesterday morning, but
it was a tired morning.
We prayed over it though.
The dogs.
I was actually telling Joe that. He was like, "So what do you do?" And I'm like, you have to correct it. You got to correct it immediately before things escalate."
Yes, but I will say this. A nice little spicy fight in the morning, sometimes you can turn it around. And sometimes those are the best days, when you have a little spat in the morning.
Spat?
Yeah, it's just throws a little spice in there.
I think that we were both just sleep deprived.
Yes.
And
that's where 99% of our fights come from is just pure exhaustion.
Okay, well, on next episode, we will be back with actually, I need to have Sis on, because when we were last in Arkansas 2 weeks ago, pretty sure in like a 5-day span, me and Erica hit up like 7 different antique stores, and some of them were not even in the state.
Yeah.
Like, we literally drove to Oklahoma. and like popped in and popped out. I mean, we got work done. We picked up appliances. We met with plumbers and electricians and HVAC and the cabinet guy, and we picked our fireplace package. I mean, we did so much.
We did so much.
But the most important thing was me and Erica got antique.
Yes, you did.
You know,
I think that's going to be our next.
That might
next
be our
podcast.
Next
I could see us. I could just see it right now.
Taken with the Moonies.
Where you go in there and then you bring your items in and you set them on the table and you talk about them.
Oh, like the antiques
kind of like a haul,
show.
but it's kind of like an antiques roadshow. Yeah, and what you found out about it,
guys.
Pretty exciting.
Shay's got he's just a marketer extraordinaire. He's got some names.
We'll talk about my idea.
We can talk about your idea.
Yeah, this is one of the greatest ideas that you'll ever hear.
Are you going to say
and if you've made it this far,
talk about it?
No, I'm going to talk about it right now because I doubt many people have made it this far because I don't think that we've talked about really anything this morning, but we had a great chat.
We did.
But I have the greatest idea of all time, and I'm going to, this way I'll have it on there, so if someone tries to steal it, then we'll have it documented.
Trademark
yeah.
it.
I do have this trademarked. But the idea is you have a social media platform, or it's a website. I actually got the website, but it's a social media platform, and it's all about really nice curated antiques. No junk. And when I say junk, there's a big difference between going and finding like really cool antique, chests and yes, and then knickknacks is the other. Like I'm not a knickknack.
No, I like knickknacks.
I'm not a knickknack paddywhack kind of guy.
I like knickknacks.
You're a knickknack.
Okay, I can point out a couple of knickknacks. Look at that leaf back here.
You like knickknacks, but I'm off the knickknacks. I don't have the patience to do that, but I like bigger pieces. I like French antiques. Anyway, I don't know.
I do take them with me when I
here.
want to spend a little bit more on actual furniture pieces.
Yeah. Well, we go in there, and basically what this is it's curated. It's all these really nice things. And so you could go online, and it's basically like, videos of these kind of like what like Old World Antiques does. They show their pieces that they have, but this is like for people to sell them on there from different vendors to kind of have that one place.
Like Etsy.
And what we call it is the most genius name of all time.
Tell them.
TikTok.
TikTok. You heard
You're
it
welcome.
first.
I mean, probably the greatest thing I've ever thought of.
But
I giggle probably 3 times a day when I think about TikTok.
Okay, TikTok is good, but can I tell them my idea?
Yes.
Okay, my idea, because I'm not on TikTok, so I actually don't know how that would function.
Yeah.
However, I do know how Facebook Marketplace functions.
Yeah.
And Etsy. I'm familiar with these. So picture it. It's a site that has different niches. Okay, you've got your gardening, you've got your antiquing, basically any granny hobby. Okay, you've got your quilting people over here, and you've got you can buy in all these categories, or you can just watch tips and tricks in all the. I mean, refurbishing furniture. Are you kidding me? I mean, I could watch that for days. Anyway. Called Only Grands.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I don't know if you can say that on your podcast.
Only
but
Grands.
We're going to have to bleep her out.
Perfect.
We're going to have to bleep it out.
I think it's
just
perfect. Beep. Are you holding it together over there, Joe? It's so good, though. It's like the granny hobbies. You have your gardening. Okay. Yeah. How therapeutic.
It'd be very therapeutic.
Your quilting, your antiquing.
Yeah. Well, we do all that over on TikTok, and it's a little more wholesome than your nasty Only Grands. It's unbelievable.
All right, well,
Only Grands.
I think that is it for us today in our dreaming and scheming. But
dreaming and scheming.
Hopefully, you guys.
There's our next. That should be a podcast.
Dreaming and scheming.
Dreaming and scheming.
I like it. I'd be on.
This is the podcast where we just talk about starting other podcasts.
Yes. We probably haven't shared a lot of good godly advice here today, but I hope at least everyone's joined us for a morning chuckle.
A little coffee. Cheers, babe.
Cheers, babe.
Have a great day.
You too. Love you.
Love you
guys. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening today. If this episode has encouraged you, please feel free to share the show with your family and friends. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, and my hope is that this show is a candle in the dark.